everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Laurie from Cook Scrap Craft, and this is my last Freaky Fast Formula Challenge process video for this month. This was my personal challenge, if you didn't know, and so if you have missed any of the previous process videos where I do a Freaky Fast Formula Challenge, then definitely check out the May 2025 playlist here on the channel so you see all of those videos. So for this one, I'm doing the December 2024 Freaky Fast Formula Challenge as posted on the Scrap Room blog, and I've got my pictures here. I was trying to go for a Halloween theme, so I have some pictures from doing Six Flags Fright Fest back in 2023, and I'm hoping that I can get all of these photos on the page, but just wait until you see what all I have cut for this. So there's supposed to be two 2x3s, and this was actually perfect because I had an American Crafts Halloween paper pad that was 4x6. So it made it really easy to cut these two pieces, 2x2s. These are my two 2x3s. You know, I could keep them both this way, or I could keep them both this way, or do one orange and one pattern. So we'll just kind of see how it goes. And then I need 5 1/2 by 6 inch. And so I think these are these. So I basically, again, just from that pattern paper pad, I cut these different patterns. They're double-sided, so I could go either way, but there's 3 of them. And then where are my other ones? I think these are the other 2. So then I've got 5 of those. We're supposed to have 3 1/2 by 4, which is what these are. Okay. Oh no, I think these are what these are, because the next one is a little bit longer. So again, different patterns, but double-sided, so I could use either side. And then 3 1/2 inch by 5 inches. So that's what these are. And again, all from that same 4x6 Halloween paper pad. My background paper, because it's got a lot of the similar colors, is this Jen Hadfield Flower Child paper. I don't know if I'm going to use this side or if I'm going to use this side. It kind of depends on how I lay out these paper pieces and how I can incorporate my photos. And I might add like another piece of cardstock or something, maybe some black, maybe one of these colors. We'll just kind of wait and see. So join me, won't you, as I start the process. All right, everybody, here we are in the actual process portion of the video. As you can see, well, I guess as you can't see, first, in order for me to figure out what side of this background paper to use, I need to cut off the branding strip. I really liked the other side. This was probably a sheet of paper that I should have gotten 2 of, but I only got 1. But just because I like the way the pieces kind of pop off of this, it's got more of a lighter color background behind all the star stuff. So this is the side that I'm going to use as opposed to the other side with all the scallops. It was just a little too dark, and the paper that I'm going to end up using some paper to matte my photos down, and it was a little too dark on dark, and so I wanted something that was going to pop a little bit more. And I just loved the star and the way it ends up working with the pieces that I've cut from this challenge. So one of the 2x3 pieces I cut, I think I took the wrong piece, the wrong cut part, because it wasn't 2x3. So I had to kind of fix that up. And then as I was looking at what photos I had and these 2x3 pieces, obviously I'm like, well, I can cut my photos down to 2x3, but what's going to have to happen if I want to have like an even grid is I'm going to have to cut another 2x3 piece of the pattern paper, as I didn't have enough photos for it. So what's going to happen is that there's going to be 2 of the pumpkin pattern papers on the top in 2x3. And then there's going to be just a solid orange one, which is the back side to the pumpkin papers down at the bottom with 3 photos. And that's going to be where I'm going to end up doing my titling. It came very quickly to me how to use the 2x3 pieces with the photos. It did not come very quickly how to use all those very small paper strips, especially when with what I was doing. Actually, something that I'm thinking of as I'm actually looking at the finished layout, I'm taking my photos and I'm matting them on something that is horizontal. And so all of my photos are vertical on this horizontal mat. Something that you could do is rotate it. So if you want your mat to be vertical, you would need 2x3 horizontal photos. And that would actually look pretty cool doing what I end up doing with the paper strips. And it also gives you a little bit more room on the side. So keep that in mind as I continue working on this and you see what I do with the paper strips. If you guys are taking your shot at Freaky Fast Formula Challenges this month, whether the ones I've been doing in my process videos or other ones that you found on the Scrap Room website. Tag me on social media. Let me know. I'd love to see your takes on these things, because that's kind of the fun of these challenges, is that everybody can interpret it in a different way. Everybody will interpret it in a different way, because it's very open to interpretation. And so I would love to see some of the ideas that you guys have come up with. So tag me at Cook Scrap Craft on Facebook, on Instagram, on Threads, right? That's what it's called, Threads. Yeah, I would love to see what you guys are doing. All right, so there's me kind of figuring out what background is going to work the best. Obviously, I was, I had the star shape up, but see how like that just pops a little bit more. Even though a lot of that background gets covered up by the photos, I don't keep a very big background, which, because it's horizontal, it's kind of a good thing, because then I wouldn't have had a whole lot of room to do what I did with the paper strips. Although I could have made my paper strips go horizontal instead of vertical, but that's, hindsight's 2020. Anyway, so I got to put my photos and my 2x3 cardstock squares, rectangles, they're not squares, down on this mat, and then I can really start like getting stuff stuck down. And this is a Halloween themed layout, so a lot of the pieces I cut were from a Halloween paper pad. I have these photos of my daughter back in October 2023 when we went to Fright Fest at Six Flags, just during the day, because at this point she was, how old was she? This was 2 years ago, so she was like 7. Obviously, we're not going to stay for like the really scary stuff at night, but if you go during the day, it's very family friendly, and they have, in the kiddie ride areas, you can go trick-or-treating for candy and meet the characters all dressed up. So she met Bugs Bunny and Sylvester and Porky Pig, which was pretty cool. And they also have, I don't know what other Six Flags has, but ours has a big fountain when you first enter, and it's always sprouting like reddish orange water, like blood, when for the Fright Fest stuff. And then they have coffins, like photo op coffins, that you can sit in, stand in, whatever, and have your picture taken, which is really fun too. And then obviously there are the rides, and there are a lot of kiddie rides at our Six Flags in New Jersey. And so my daughter got to ride a whole bunch of rides. It's not that crowded. I mean, this was the first weekend in October that we went, and it really was not that crowded, especially with like the Fright Fest stuff. But I think that's probably because most people will come in the evening because they want to do the really scary stuff. So if you're a family, you want to go to Six Flags, definitely go like at the beginning of October during the day, and wear your costumes and trick or treat for some candy. All right, so you can see that I've lined up some of these paper strips here. I have 3 of them lined up where the titling is going to be, and I did that because, so there was like an uneven number of some of these paper strips. Like some of them I cut and I had 3, some of them I had 5. But if I'm only doing 2 strips, one on the top and one on the bottom, they're both going, one's coming down, one's coming up. Normally I do that in like groups of 3, but I needed to do a group of 4, and then I still had some extras, and I wasn't just going to keep layering up these paper strips here. So I said, you know what? I will bring the paper strips to the photos, and I will do a little bit of layering here. And I actually think I would want to, the way I end up adhering them, I think I would want to reverse it, but I can't do that now because the adhesive that I use is not repositionable. But I would probably put the longer strip on top of the 2 smaller strips, but whatever. We'll get there when we get there. I did ink everything, the edges, in some black ink, again, just to help it stand out a little bit more. And yeah, so I have 2 of the longest pieces in each of these paper strip clusters. And then I have one of the medium size and one of the very small. And when I go through, I have quite a few Halloween embellishments, and I actually have some punched out pattern paper circles that are sort of these in like orangey colors that I was using, I guess, for other Halloween stuff that I've done in the past. And so I'm actually going to be able to break out some of those as well. The Say Boo is the title, and that comes from an American Crafts Thickers sheet of Halloween thickers. And I'm also going to add in some yellow gemstones, some yellow adhesive gems that I got from Joann's. And just because I wanted something else, like the American Crafts, I have the foam stickers. I also have some puffy Halloween stickers, but I wanted something that was a little bit different to go along in some of these embellishment clusters. So I have another sheet of American Crafts puffy stickers. Puffy stickers. And you've seen me use these before, but they're colorful little like circles and ovals. And I'm going to add some of those in as well as just another like extra piece to kind of build out some of these embellishment clusters and have groupings of 3, but without, without doing like 2 gems, because the gems are all the same size. If I had more enamel dots that were different sizes, then I would have used those. But I'm just trying to like do things that are different sizes and different colors and keep to the rule of 3s. So down at both of the, paper strip clusters, I'm going to have an embellishment at the top and an embellishment at the bottom. And then above and below the title, there's going to be even more. You can see that I did not stick down my photo thing yet. I wanted to get my paper strips down. And so now I can get a good positioning with where my photo mat needs to be. And you can see that you could rotate this and use horizontal photos. If I just flipped this 90 degrees to the left, and then you could do the paper strips either going in horizontal or coming up and down vertical. And like I said, I could have done my paper strips going horizontal with this horizontal mat, but that was not something that I was thinking of at the time. So anyway, lots of different options for how to do this, for how to scrap lift this, for how to position your pieces. If you're using this Freaky Fast Formula Challenge, I might do this one again at some point and change it up a little bit depending on, if I have the right photos to do it or if I keep it horizontal or whatever. So, you can find out if I do this again by subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on my process videos and following me on all my social media channels. At the end of this video, if you watch all the way to the end, you'll see where to find me on all of my different social channels. So that's that. Got to get a few more things stuck down. Halloween is definitely a favorite holiday in our house. My daughter, maybe it's because of the candy, but my daughter does love dressing up in costume and doing the Halloween parades and going trick-or-treating. What holiday is the favorite in your household? Leave me a comment down below and let me know. All right, so you can see that I've added in one of those punched out stickers. It's actually white with some like light peachy polka dots on it. And I've put a piece of candy sticker on top of it and a yellow gem. And that's the little embellishment piece up there at the top. Underneath, what I'm going to add is also an American Crafts foam sticker, little banner sticker. I wish that the banner was in 2 parts. It's only in 1. So I had to use the whole thing, but, whatever. And then what I'm going to end up doing down at the bottom with paper strips, I'm doing a puffy sticker that says trick or treat, a yellow gem, another one of those. It's orange with orange polka dot circle. I think those are, I think my paper punch for that was 1 inch or a 1/2 inch. Does that look like a 1/2 inch or 1 inch to you? I don't know. I think it's my smallest paper punch, which I think is 1/2 inch, but I could be wrong. Anyway, I punched those so long ago, I don't even remember, but they come in handy. See, if you punch some of your scrap paper into circles or other shapes, you're going to have them handy for when you need to do a layout and add embellishments and stuff. So down there, we've got gem sticker, puffy sticker, a smaller puffy sticker. Up at the top, we have a puffy sticker that says Happy Halloween with another gem sticker and then another smaller puffy sticker. And then the circle is kind of like a pinkish color with larger orange polka dots. So it was really neat to see how all of these pieces, all of these papers went together because they were all similar colors. However, they were not all part of the same collection, and some of them aren't even Halloween things. The background paper is Jen Hadfield. That's not Halloween themed. The matte paper is also from Jen Hadfield. Again, not Halloween themed. Some of the punched circles, I think all of the punched circles actually were not Halloween papers, but you can find things that are similar colors and make them become Halloween or use them in a generic way, which is totally easy to do as well. So I'm almost done with this layout. One of the last things that I'm going to add is a place to do some journaling. As you can see, I covered up the orange piece of cardstock with the titling and some embellishments, so I don't have space there to write. One of the things I could have done is I could have used one of the little circles and done some journaling on that one. Like the one at the bottom is pretty neutral, but instead I'm going to take some spare cardstock from the Halloween paper pad. So the same paper that I cut a strip out of, I'm going to take the extras of that and turn it into a little journaling spot. And then I will also, once I write my journaling down there, then I will also stick down another gem sticker, another puffy sticker, and another little, or no, a foam sticker and a little puffy sticker, so that there's a little bit of a visual interest over there by the journaling. And also there's some space there where I haven't used all of it. And so that kind of covers up any of the excess space that my writing did not take up, which I like. And then that's pretty much it. I mean, I guess I could have also added some splatters to this, but I felt like the background was already pretty busy with the star business. One thing I will say about this star, and this is the way it's supposed to be, but it's not even. Like nothing is even. So if you're trying to position your items on this background paper and you're trying to use the star lines as a guide, don't, because they're not even. Okay, so kind of disregard that, but that adds again to like the busyness of it. I do like the way that this all looked, and despite the fact that it was a little challenging and I was nervous about these different paper strips and figuring out how to incorporate them into this layout, and figuring out like that's a challenge for these, which is a fun challenge, but you do have to figure out like what photos am I going to use and how am I going to make it work. And hopefully this has inspired you to think creatively before you sit down to scrapbook today or tomorrow or whenever you have time. And I hope that you do have time to scrapbook and get creative. And I hope that you have time to come back again and see more process videos on my channel. Bye.